Hi, I'm Sharon Wren.
And I'm Linda Cook.
And this is QC Crime Watch, where we follow some of the crimes that have happened in the area over the past week and follow up on some of the ones we've talked about on earlier podcasts.
Mm-hmm. And we also can't recommend an attorney to you. Sorry, it would be a conflict of interest, and we are not attorneys. So we have to say that every time.
Yeah, when you need a lawyer, you want an actual lawyer, not us.
So, Sharon, you have some unusual ones today. Mine are actually very sad today.
When don't we have some unusual ones, to be honest? A Moline man is in the Rock Island County Jail after police say he sprayed a restaurant employee with what they believe to be pepper spray, or that sort of thing, and took a tip jar. Now, a news release from the Moline Police Department said officers responded to China Inn on Avenue of the Cities on December 6th, about 10 minutes to 2, for a report of a robbery. Staff told police a customer had tried to pay for food and had 2 cards declined. That's when this customer allegedly sprayed the worker with what they think is pepper spray or some kind of thing like that, took the tip jar from the counter and fled. Oh, wait, there's more. 2 employees and a customer chased the suspect. By the way, we don't recommend that.
No, because you don't know they don't have a gun or
an
another
accomplice
weapon.
Or something. But anyway, the suspect has been identified as Shaheen McKnight, age 22. The customer saw McKnight later on 22nd Avenue, where he allegedly dropped the bag with the tip jar in it. Now, the customer recovered the bag, the tip jar, and the money and took them back to the restaurant. An officer found Mr. McKnight in the 1800 block of 40th Street Court, where he was arrested and charged with 2 counts of armed robbery. He's being held in the Rock Island County Jail, and a petition to deny pretrial release has been filed. He has a preliminary hearing on December 16th. So not everybody gets out on the Safety Act right away.
No, not everybody gets out right away. And that, of course, the Safety Act is being reexamined even as we speak, right? But do keep in mind that judges keep in mind whether this person is a threat to the community or themselves.
Right.
And I just want to say that even though people get desperate, I get that, and they seize the opportunity, there are so many resources now at this time of year, at this moment in the nation's history, for people in need. Please, think for one moment before you do something like this. There's a place for you to get food. There's a place for you to get help.
Right.
And a lot of those resources are listed on our website.
Right.
This is an unusual one just because I got to talk to a relative about this. Now, an elderly woman has been ordered to serve 5 years of probation after police say she stole thousands from her dad. Cassandra Crafton, who's 34, appeared a couple of weeks ago in Scott County Court with her attorney. And I was there in the courtroom. So earlier, Crafton withdrew a not guilty plea and pleaded guilty to financial exploitation of an older individual, first offense, and first-degree theft. Other charges were dismissed. Now, the judge at this hearing said a lot of people had written letters in support of Crafton. So that's always a good thing for the defendant.
Right.
Before the sentencing, Crafton read a statement saying she quit her job to care for her father, and the responsibility was overwhelming. She says that she began to gamble as a form of escape. She cried while she read the statement. I was no longer thinking clearly or rationally, she said, as her father's condition continued to decline. But Derek Jones, a senior assistant Scott County attorney, said, obviously, this crime is one of betrayal. And Susan Smith, who is the power of attorney and the sister of the victim, came in and talked to us here at the station.
Sometimes her father does try to call her and talk to her because he has dementia and he can't remember all of this. And it's very sad. I had to ask for a no contact order because she called her father and was crying to him that she had no money and she didn't want to go to jail after he already stolen his money.
And you can see her interview that I did with her if you visit this link. So this will be up on our website, and I encourage you to do that because Susan I found to be a very thoughtful and credible person. She said that Cassandra Crafton committed the ultimate act of betrayal, that she made a conscious decision to steal from her father, and Susan Smith had traveled all the way from Nevada to appear in Scott County Court. So the judge, I could tell, was really turning this over. And he said, to be honest, Miss Crafton, the only saving grace in this case is that you do not have a criminal history.
Oh my.
So had she had another anything else on her
Right.
record, I think consequences would have been a lot more intense. He suspended a sentence of incarceration and gave her 5 years probation with terms that include these. She must undergo a substance abuse evaluation, mental health evaluation, abstain from the use of controlled substances and alcohol, and maintain employment. Now, this case stems from a 2024 incident, and actually, this is when the police found out about it. But the thefts happened from 2022 to 2024. Cassandra Crafton took and spent, this is from the affidavit, about $34,000 for personal gain, while her husband took and spent about $22,000, affidavits show. So this involved electronic wire transfers, and the total loss was $56,787.05. The prosecuting attorney has asked that the court dismiss the case against Miles Crafton as part of Cassandra Crafton's plea agreement.
Oh.
And there you are.
Well, and as you said in the last story about resources, caring for a relative is, when you're not trained in the medical field, is difficult.
Very
So
difficult.
there are resources. There is respite care available out there.
Yes. And again, this whole family has been torn apart. I was in the courtroom. So as I will just say it, I know who it was. It doesn't matter. Another woman who was there on behalf of Cassandra Crafton stopped before Susan and used profanity at her on her way out. And it was quite loud. And again, this family is never going to be the same. Never. It doesn't matter. I mean, till the end of their lives, this is going to be, a problem. And again, think before you do something like that. Borrowing $20 and replacing it in a jar, perhaps, is one thing. But when you see your own pattern developing, if you continue to take and not replace, it is theft. It doesn't matter if you're related to the person. And I have spoken with people who've told me, the experts say, a lot of older people would rather keep that connection than turn in a child or grandchild. It's so sad, especially this time of year.
Yeah. Oh, well, moving on from that one, this is not a lighthearted one, but not as heavy as yours. A woman from Davenport is in the Scott County Jail on a secured $5,000 bond after police say she took an SUV from Walmart. Now, a uniformed Davenport police officer was working off duty at Walmart doing security, the one on West Kimberly Road, on December 8th, about 5:30, when there was a report of a motor vehicle theft. The defendant, who's been identified as 55-year-old Peggy Chandler, was seen on camera leaving Walmart about 5:25 p.m., getting into this SUV without permission and driving away. Now, the victim was able to trace the car, and they found it in the 2200 block of Waveland Drive in Bettendorf. Officers responded.
That's a ways away.
Yeah. Well, officers responded, found the SUV and Miss Chandler, who admitted to possessing it. Now, the victim and Miss Chandler do not know each other.
Oh.
He did not give anyone permission to drive or use the vehicle, which was worth about $35,000. It was a 2025, I believe. She was arrested and charged with first-degree theft. She's being held in the Scott County Jail on a secured $10,000 bond and has a preliminary hearing on December 16th. Now, the problem is, and we hate to blame anyone, but I have this same model of vehicle, about a decade older.
Okay.
It has to start with one of those key fob things. You have
Okay,
to have
so
it with you.
You have to have that
in the
either
vehicle.
around or in the car.
Right. You can't just, I don't believe you can hotwire them, but there's no key. So some people leave their fobs in their car.
Oh.
That's not a good idea. Especially if, as happens sometimes, you forget to lock the car.
Right.
And
But
yeah.
now, I suppose this person could have stolen the key and the fob. I don't know. I don't know how this happened.
Yeah, but it would be difficult because they would have to like mug this person, basically, or steal their purse or whatever.
Match the key and the fob to the vehicle, right? Okay.
But there have been multiple reports across the country over the past several years about these cars being stolen, and gee whiz, the fob was right there in the center console. So,
okay,
don't do that, please.
No.
I don't.
I'm glad she got the car back.
Yes.
Or I guess it was a lady, right? I don't know.
We don't know. They just said it was the victim. So the person, the car owner, got the car back.
Good.
So.
Good. This one's really sad, and Sharon, it's no secret to people who know us on a very how do I say this? Know us at all?
Yeah.
That we're both animal people.
Right.
We both have animal companions in our home, and we're both a little bit
protective of them?
Yes, and we spoil our animals. So this one is very bothersome. I'm going to go backwards with this. This was in 2024, shortly before 4 p.m. on April 19. Animal Protection Services responded to a Davenport home on West 3rd Street, and this was a report of animal neglect. Suzanne Schmidt and Joshua Schmidt faced charges because they failed to provide several animals in their care, this is from the affidavits, with basic needs such as adequate food, water, and sanitary conditions, leading to serious medical issues and death to several animals. Affidavits show that Animal Protection Services removed one dog, matted fur with feces stuck to it, long nails, malnourished, and 2 rabbits, both showing signs of neglect, one showing signs of starvation, from the home. In the freezer were 2 rabbits and a cat that showed signs of severe neglect and were just fur and bones, according to the affidavits. There were no medical records for any of the animals. 4 cats were allowed to remain with the defendants, but Animal Protection Services did note the litter boxes were full. So, Suzanne Schmidt has received prior city citations for exceeding number of animals allowed, failure to provide proof of rabies vaccination, failure to obtain a city dog license. So that was last year. On December 5th in Scott County Court, Suzanne Schmidt pleaded guilty to 3 charges of animal neglect with serious injury or death. A jail sentence was suspended, and she was placed on unsupervised probation for a year. On October 7th, before that, Joshua Schmidt pleaded guilty to 3 charges of animal neglect with serious injury or death and a charge of animal neglect with injury. According to Scott County sentencing order, he too was placed on probation for a year. I don't pretend to understand what happened here, and I don't know anything beyond what is in those legal documents that you and I use for these stories. So here's what I guess I would plead with people. If you think something ugly is happening to animals, please report it.
Yeah.
Because you might be the only one who does. You might think everybody knows this thing is going on.
Right.
Everybody might not report it.
No.
And you might save some lives. And even though these are little creatures, their lives are pretty big to them.
I'm going to go home and hug my puppies.
I'm going to go home and hug the bunnies.
Yeah. Okay, well, a third person has been arrested in connection with last month's fatal shooting in the parking lot of Chill Vibes. Davenport police responded to a report of multiple gunshots in the parking lot of Chill Vibes, which is at 114 North Myrtle Street, on November 28th, about 1:45 in the morning. 2 people died from gunshot wounds in the incident. Now, this new criminal complaint filed in Scott County Court says Drake Howard, age 27, was with one of the suspects when the shots were allegedly fired. Mr. Howard went with the suspect back to a vehicle and drove the suspect away from the crime scene to avoid being arrested. Warrant for Howard's arrest was issued on December 5th. He was taken into custody on December 8th and charged with felony accessory after the fact, which is basically you help somebody after a thing happens.
Right, but he didn't fire a weapon.
He didn't fire a weapon. He didn't, smack anybody around or break anything. He just... Well, was the getaway driver.
Right.
Basically,
Basically.
as they'd call it in the movies. He's being held in the Scott County Jail on a $5,000 cash-only bond and has an arraignment December 18th.
Okay, well, we'll be following all three
Yes.
of the people allegedly involved in
Right.
this case.
Everybody's innocent until proven guilty.
That's right. So we'll be following court documents and court hearings.
Right.
And in the meantime, we're going to plead with you again. Please lock your doors and lock your cars, even if you're going to be shopping for a very short time.
Don't leave the key fobs in there.
And especially now, because people are taking packages and rifling through cars. And please keep yourself and your loved ones safe.